Welcome back to BarcaBuzz TV. My name is Adam. Boy, oh boy, 1-0 loss to Almeria. Really just not what I wanted to see today. I didn't even make a video after the Manchester United game because I was so downtrodden and also kind of caught up in the emotions of, all over Barca social media. Xavi out. We need more patience. Players like Lewandowski need to play better. What do you expect with Pedri and Dembele gone? Xavi had a good start to the game. We won that first half against Manchester United, but Erik ten Hag just outmaneuvered us in the second half, and Xavi was late. I was caught up in all of this, and I was hoping we'll come against Almeria. We'll get a nice little W. I'll think about it. I'll talk more, make a video about kind of Xavi, how this season has gone so far, and what we want to see. And then, boom, it was like I was in a hot tub time machine, and we got transported back 2 years because it really did feel an awful lot like Kounde ball today with just so many crosses into the box that weren't really going anywhere. Poor performances by almost every single player. I think the only silver lining, and again, this is grading on a hell of a curve here, but Ferran Torres did look better today, and he has looked like he is slowly improving over time, but just an absolute awful game. I mean, seeing Ronald Araujo and Marcos Alonso substituted on in the last 20-ish minutes of the game and seeing them kind of play as like a cross and a receiver in the box and Araujo trying to get on the end of every cross really just showed me that this team is not ready. And I think there was some glimpse over the last month. I do feel like we're this Barca fandom who've kind of been overhyped on this team because we're, 7-8 points ahead in La Liga at times. We've only allowed, less than 10 goals in La Liga so far. But, all the losses in Europe, even before Manchester United in the Champions League, should have given us a little heads up that, Ter Stegen's so few goals allowed compared to his expected goals allowed, and then you should have given us some sight that things might return to the mean. And then you just take a look, right? And there was that period in late January, after right around when Dembele was out, where we were winning 1-0 against, Getafe, Girona, Villarreal, and we were all sitting there like, wow, these are the games you have to win the league, when really it exposed an underlying crack that our offensive creativity was really dead without Dembele. But we still kept it alive because we had Pedri and Gavi firing, and then Busquets goes down, and then Pedri's out, and now you're left just seeing that, this whole four-man midfield system without Pedri and Dembele really just doesn't have the juice in it to allow us to continue to win. And it just came in the most embarrassing fashion possible today against an Almeria team who... I think this is their first ever win against Barca. They just allowed 6 goals against Girona last weekend, and we weren't able to score one. I think we went like 65 minutes without even a shot on goal. And it was just a putrid performance in the worst possible time, right? Because I think what we're all very worried about is just the possibility of an avalanche of a season. Yus, my old friend Yus, he gave me a message talking about how, after every European leg, when we get knocked out, we tend to really do poorly in La Liga. And this was just another example, right? Last year after Frankfurt, when Eric Garcia had that penalty, we lost against Cadiz right away, and then today, again, just an awful loss. And I think first and foremost, as many fans are very upset, you got to look at Robert Lewandowski. You got to look at how poor he's been performing lately. You have to see that he's not doing either of the things that, you'd hope he'd do one of the two things well. He's not scoring goals right now, right? He's hardly in the box. There is, a lot of talk, and I think some of it's valid about how much is he getting balls delivered to him in the box, and it's not much, right? Especially without Dembele. Rafinha has been hit or miss in his ability to get the ball deep to Lewandowski. And then on the other hand, Lewandowski's not scoring. We know he has some abilities in build-up play, but then you take a look at, he's on the left wing sometimes he's in midfield trying to draw the ball forward. And you look back at that Manchester United pre-match video I did, and really what I was looking to see was, would Lewandowski be able to be the man to deliver the victory in either of those legs? He got a penalty that he scored, but not much else besides that. And so he's hit the absolute worst run of form at the worst time possible. And then, there's some other things we have to criticize, right? I mean, the idea of playing a high defensive line against a team like Almeria that's going to hit us on the counter when we're playing... Because of rotations, we're playing, Sergio Roberto, Jordi Alba, Eric Garcia as a back line, along with Busquets in midfield. I mean, that just setup right there gives us all the PTSD of the old days and of a defensive line that is not one that's going to be able to keep out some goals. And so I do wonder, rotating Alonso in that first leg against Man U, rotating here Araujo and Kounde, right, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, and Balde. I mean, certainly I understand the need that Kounde hasn't been playing as well as he needs to be since the World Cup. But for him to rest him along with Araujo, along with Balde, and just sub out, almost all of our good back line in a game that could have put us 10 points ahead in the league, right, with this big Real Madrid draw in the Madrid derby yesterday, is very disappointing. Gavi himself, right, again picks up another yellow card today. He's going to be suspended in the game of Barca against Valencia next week in La Liga. And he got that yellow in the first leg of the Man U game, knowing he would be out the second. He got a yellow today, knowing he'd be out next game. And today it wasn't even like a tactical foul like it was against Man U. Today he was simply pissed off at the ref and kind of gave him some smack talk that, got him a yellow. And so we really need him to kind of keep his head screwed on well and figure out how to avoid just all these fouls. I think on the broadcast they said Gavi is the player who's fouled the most opposition in La Liga this season, and that can't continue if you're not going to be smart about it and you're picking up yellows, right? This is no Casemiro here who's avoiding a lot of suspensions. This is now 2 suspensions within 2 weeks that are going to cost us, right, with the poor form we're exhibiting. And so I think we're all really frustrated, right? We're just afraid of this avalanche. We come against Real Madrid in El Clasico in the first leg of the Copa del Rey on Thursday. And, we've lost against Man U. We've lost against Almeria today. If we lose against Real Madrid midweek, I really think it's going to cause a cascading avalanche of negativity, and it's going to cost us the league possibly, right? And so, when you think about, as I talked about earlier in the video, kind of Xavi, where we sit with him, I think people are way too reactionary about Xavi out. They give time for players like Frankie de Jong and Balde to improve, to grow, a little bit separate track there. But, we give people the time to improve because we understand that this is a team with a work in progress and one that doesn't have the money like Chelsea to spend $600 million across 2 transfer windows. And with Xavi, we need to give him time too. But it's clear his substitutions and reactions to other coaches is too slow right now. And it's also clear his ideas to rotate players is just too much, right? I felt like subbing out all of those 3 main defenders in this game was a mistake. And then, to put Araujo on and Alonso on at the end to play as like a point guard and a center to try and get, goals in the box just really didn't work out well. I know we're a bit screwed here because especially the last 25 minutes, Almeria were really playing 10 men behind the ball, and so there wasn't a lot of ability to create through the middle or create on the wings. And so, we kind of had to resort to that, but still, you look at Rafinha, just not on his game tonight. It's a continuing trend, kind of with Lewandowski, right? Rafinha's had some good goal contributions at the end of games that have been big for us, but overall his ability to put together a full 45 or 90 minutes where he's playing to the level that we need for his price tag is not there. Ferran Torres, again, he's doing better. I want to support him, especially when he came out talking about some of the mental health issues he's having, but for the price tag he's on, he's just not there. Sergio Roberto just should not be a starter for us, right? Especially in that 4-man midfield like against Manchester United. Just too many back passes. Kessié, again, we're just grading on a curve with a lot of these players is my main issue, is that it just feels so disjointed, especially today, where it feels like a bunch of individuals playing together, not really playing as a team, like we've seen kind of at the height of how Xavi ball has emerged, right? When you think about the Supercopa final against Real Madrid, when you think about some of these standout performances, it's just as players get injured and I don't know, as their mentality gets down, I just haven't seen from Xavi his ability to kind of inspire them and get them to move, right? I was hoping at halftime we could see Xavi make some impactful substitutions, get a pep talk to the team to get them to try harder, but you just saw in the first and second half a lot of just standing around, not very much movement, it seemed like a lack of interest. And you think about the people who were defending Xavi a lot for the Europa League loss, saying, partially, hey, Xavi doesn't care about the Europa League. His focus is on La Liga and the Copa del Rey. Well, today's a big La Liga game to go 10 points up. And if this is what, focus on the league looks like, it's just not going to be good enough for us in the long term. But saying that, I mean, there's still a chance for us to turn it around, right? Almost all these games we're complaining about, they have involved Pedri and or Dembele being out. We can't solve that immediately, but they will be back in 3 to 4 weeks. And at the same time, right, most of these games involve us playing, most of these games involve us playing, a subpar lineup. So if we go against Real Madrid in the Clásico Copa del Rey midweek, we pull off a W. As easy as this thing could slide with a loss, it could also turn around with a W here, right? Madrid are still competing in Champions League. They have more games than us, along with the semifinals in La Liga. And so, we're going to get more rest than them. We have more than half of the season is done, so we don't have that many games left. And, we still do hang on to this lead, 7 points, I believe. And so let's just try and support the team. Let's hope that, like we saw with Balde and we see with other young players, hopefully Pablo Torre is next. We hope that Xavi just continues to figure out how to improve because, if we slide down here at the end of this season, it's going to be really, really brutal. And so I'm hoping it's not that way, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think and if you're, feeling optimistic that we can turn it around or you're just down in the dumps. Either way, let's talk about it. Thank you all.